So the Giants began the round 6th, 12 wins, 6 losses. They've grabbed themselves a 13th win. You still need a 14th win to be confirmed as a finalist. Their last 4 games, the Bulldogs at Marvel, North Melbourne and Canberra, Suns on the Gold Coast, and then St Kilda back here at NG. It sets up pretty well for them.
It does. If they win 3 of those 4, they are a big chance to finish in the top 4 and give themselves the double chance, of course, depending on some of the other teams around them. But they are the form team of the competition. I mean, since these teams met back in round 8, they've now won 9 of their last 11. And that's included a couple of wins against the Cats. They've beaten the Gold Coast, they've beaten Brisbane, and then obviously what they did tonight against a Sydney Swans team in pretty good form. So they might be the team that are just peaking at the right time of the season. Adam Kingsley has spoken about that in the past, the way they train this group up. He sort of learned from his Richmond days. They wanted to get them right at the end of the season. They've had some bad luck in finals in recent years, but maybe they are the wild card in this finals race this year.
The Swans on the other side of the coin. Tonight kind of sums up their season and their 12 months. Halfway through last year, they were the best team in the comp. They were top of the ladder. They were minor premiers and got to the grand final and were smashed by the Lions by 60 points. When they're good, they're fantastic. But when they're not good, as we saw in the 3rd quarter tonight, they are so vulnerable.
That's the first word that came to mind. I've heard them say it. It's just inconsistency. They've just been inconsistent all year long for a whole host of reasons. Injuries, and again tonight, you know, Hamling and McLean out. Their best is great. We've seen it when their best 3 or 4 players are dominating. They're hard to stop. If they come off the boil, they've just been a bit clunky this year. I think that no doubt they'll be much better next season with another pre-season under Dean Cox. They've done well to resurrect their season, but as we said throughout the call, they've just left it too little, too late, and then in the end they were just overwhelmed by a better team this time of the year.
You saw the ladder there, and then there was 9 teams left in the race for finals in 2025. Giants were so close, and yet so far last year, mentioned earlier, they led by 7 goals in the semi-final here against the Brisbane Lions and lost that game, and the Brisbane Lions went on to win the flag. They were capable last year of winning the flag.
Well, they were, I mean, unlucky, not unlucky. They really were hot at the end of the season and in those finals games, and they just blew 2 fourth quarters against the Sydney Swans and Brisbane that has eaten them up, and it's fueled them all pre-season. It's fueled them to get back there again this year. How much can they learn from those experiences, or from what we saw tonight in that 3rd quarter? They might have just learned plenty. They might be a better product than they were this time 12 months ago. So who knows?
You're an entertainment machine. The 3rd quarter was just electric, Toby, wasn't it? You got a spray, which we think was all time from Adam Kingsley, was it?
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a good one.
Mate, you're a promoter's dream.
Yeah.
You're a pro. I've just been to Vegas for a week. Yeah, well, selling it at half-time, it was easy to sell when obviously King is fired up and you boys are pretty ordinary, below par in the first half, but that 3rd quarter was just sensational to watch the way you took it over.
Yeah, we were. You're right. We were real ordinary the first half. Our contest work rate, which we felt the Swans beat us the last 5 times, just based on that. So it was super disappointing what we dished up first half, and we were right up for this game. And then King he obviously acknowledged it, and it was mostly on myself and the leaders. And
so did he come at you directly?
Yeah,
he did.
Which is fair enough.
Sharp.
Directed long.
So what was that? So what was that directed at as a leader?
Like contest and work rate. It just wasn't good enough. Let them play the way they want to play. No pressure wasn't where it needed to be, and I acknowledge that, and we acknowledge that. And 3rd quarter was a lot of that. Like get back to help, pressure on, and then attack, access perimeter. And we felt like, not many teams can beat us when we play the way we want to play.
Yeah, you look like you got the control of the contest, but also that bounce off half-back and the use of the hands. And Finn Callahan was enormous in that 3rd term.
Yeah, well, he's a special, the way he can run and carry, not many midfielders can do that in the comp. So he's a special talent and great to play with.
I was reminded about that ball movement was just sensational to see. So, I think that is 2 kicks to 1 handball in the first half. It just didn't look like the Giants at all. Couldn't get the Orange Tsunami going. Obviously, you would have been disappointed the work around the footy, but I thought your pressure was still okay. But it was more, felt like you're just going, right now, we're just going to go in the second half.
Yeah, and there's a bit of that. There's also, though, you got to, when you kick it to the forward on the wing, you know, you got to win that contest, and Swans are killing us at that. And then you got to rock up and help your mate. And we felt like we were able to do that, used our speed, which, you know, we felt like that's a real weapon of ours. And, yeah, I would have sort of put it together, but also kicked some pretty good goals that don't usually go through. So, yeah, it was a good response.
You're right, the aerial is 20-8. I think the contested mark tally finished up as in favour of the Giants, clearly. And I think was it 9 goals, 3 or whatever it was in that third quarter. So the accuracy was really underrated.
Yeah, it was exceptional. And you mentioned the front half, and Jesse Hogan was back, but let's touch on the package. Has he timed this beautifully? The energy and the explosiveness that he's bringing to this team?
He has, and he's done a lot of work to get to where he is, though. He came in super fit, worked really hard all pre-season, had some hiccups with a bit of hammies and sickness, and then he put in a big chunk of work before the bye. And you know, we want him to play his best footy this time of year when we need to win these big games. And he's been unreal. He's so good to play with.
Where's your game at? We're seeing patches of absolute elite football, but you're still having these first quarter issues. Probably over the last 8 weeks, you've probably been down halfway through the first quarter in most of those games.
Yeah, we have. And teams, you know, they put a lot of effort into stopping us, and we've got to be better defensively as well. But yeah, I mean, good teams are going to have their moments. We're going to just try and neutralise them a little bit better. But then, you know, we're able to run our games as good as anyone, and I feel like it's just a real weapon.
Tell us about the rivalry. You hadn't won here against Swans since 2019. There's a lot of feeling between the two clubs.
Yeah, there is. It's not manufactured.
No, we picked that up.
It's a really good, healthy rivalry. There's a lot said out there, and you know, people really flying to contests. It feels like a final. Like tonight felt like a final. It really did. And you know, to be able to respond the way we did, it's a big step in the right direction.
I know the Giants have been incredible with their access. I mean, we've heard multiple players being mic'd up. Of Kinga's speech at halftime, how much do you reckon will make the doco?
I know. They don't always work. That one worked the bloody trees.
Have you had a chance has he got the arm around your post-game yet?
No, he doesn't need to, mate. I knew what I did wrong. I needed to respond, and yeah, I was getting touched up, so I had to just be better defensively and go from there.
Yeah. Well, you're great to see. You're a great entertainer, mate. You're a great player. And it's great to see the Giants have a huge second half. But no, we'll get rid of you now.
Thank you, mate.
That's brand new to say. Thanks very much.
Come on, Jesse. Let's go.
Well done, Toby.
Good on you,
mate. You're magnificent at exiting interviews. Just get out of here.
What a star.
But
how good is that? We hear that inner sanctum stuff. We hear about cooks and that sort of stuff. But the cook to the captain and put it on him, and he's copped it on the chin. He absolutely understood where he was at, and because he was feisty in that first half, and this is pretty much early in the first quarter. Now Dane Rampy's got hold of him a few times in these local derbies, and he was on edge. He was ready to go, ready to fire, and it's fantastic that he got a spray at half time and copped it on the chin, and he's going around giving a few of them a clip, but he's led well, no doubt about that.
Hey, Jesse, did you have a front row seat to the Adam Kingsley spray on Toby?
Yeah, it's the first thing I addressed to Toby, and I haven't spent my whole time with Toby, so I don't know how many sprays he's caught, but he said, mate, by a mile, that's the biggest one I've seen. So, but he did go around the room, he hit up about 6 blokes, so it's one of those ones where you kind of just shrink it in a little bit, but yeah, he responded like he does, and he came away with a massive win.
So what do you do? Do you get around your captain that's obviously copped a bake at half time and just check in on him?
Well, he's our captain for a reason. He leads by example. Like, he's someone... He does talk, but the way he leads is by his actions, and that's exactly what he did. He came out firing. He addressed us three-quarter time out there, and then he led by example. Our first 5 minutes, our pressure, that set up that whole second half, and it was off the back of him.
It's a great sign of maturity, and that's what you need from your captains. Our mate Vossi copped a couple from Lee Matthews, and he said, well, I treat you like boys during the week. I can't expect you to be a man on grand final day, and I think that's the thing we recognise with this group is there's some maturity there. They look like they're ready for a big tilt on September.
And we just saw Toby Greene coming out of the coach's room at half-time and leading his troops out there. We spoke especially during the second half, some of your role players or those players that are doing things to give you space or giving Finn Callahan space, they must be a really important part of your weekly review.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every role is important now. It's, maybe 15, 20 years ago, you could just play with 5 good players and get it done. I think everyone's role has to be done to a pretty high level for 90 to 100% of the game time. So, look, players like Callum Brown, Darcy Jones, like the pressure they put on, especially against a team like Sydney, once they get their game going, they're so hard to stop. So, look, I could literally name half our squad, but they're so in our 4 walls, they're so valuable, and you have to do it.